Ibn Arabi in Futuhat says that when a human defines themselves only by their visible form, they become blind to the depths of truth. For him, the body is a garment, worn one day, cast off another. Yet most people mistake this garment for their true self. And this is where all slavery begins. The soul is a breath from the divine, yet it finds itself trapped in the narrow cell of the body. Most people call that cell their home. The desires, lusts, and fears of the body become chains for the soul. Ibn Arabi explains it like this: the body is meant to be the mount of the soul, but when the mount starts to rule its master, the order of existence collapses, and this reversal pulls the entire journey of a human being into darkness. Sühreverdi describes this relationship between body and soul through the metaphor of light. For him, the soul is light. The body is the glass lantern in which that light is imprisoned. If the lantern grows dirty, the light appears dim. When a person begins to treat the needs of the body as the only truth, that light sinks into darkness. Sühreverdi says, the light of the soul is buried in the soil of the body. To uncover it, you must dig through the earth. That digging is the struggle against the ego. As the ego is purified, the light of the soul shines brighter. In modern philosophy, Descartes described the body as a machine, but this mechanical outlook ignores the soul. Ibn Arabi would call this an incomplete understanding, for the body is only an instrument. What matters is the soul that governs it. Yet modern man has turned the body itself into an idol, worshiping its image, its strength, its pleasures. And so the soul forgets its source and becomes a slave to the body. Farabi explains this captivity with the metaphor of political order. Imagine a kingdom. If the king is weak, the viziers and people seize control. The soul is that king, while the body's desires are the viziers. When the soul grows weak, desires take over, and the inner world collapses into chaos. Farabi writes, the perfection of man lies in restoring the sovereignty of the soul. The path is wisdom, balance, and justice. Ibn Ataullah al-Iskandari is even harsher. In Hikam al-Ata, he says, whoever serves his body serves his ego, and whoever serves his ego is cut off from truth. The freedom of the soul depends on breaking the chains of desire. True freedom, then, is the ability to resist the demands of the body. To give the body everything it asks is to forget the soul, and this forgetfulness is the greatest betrayal of truth. In our age, the body itself has become an industry. Gyms, cosmetic surgeries, diet cultures, all of them glorify the body. But this glorification is a hidden slavery. For while a person thinks they are free, they are actually prisoners of their own flesh. Even Nietzsche's idea of the Übermensch was linked to the strengthening of the body. But in Sufism, true strength lies in the freedom of the soul. A strong body can mask a captive spirit. That's why Ibn Arabi warns us, do not be deceived by appearances. Let us use a metaphor. Imagine a bird living in a golden cage. The cage glitters, admired by everyone. Yet the bird's wings have been clipped. It cannot fly. Modern man is this bird. His body cage shines, decorated and praised, but the wings of his soul are cut, and no one sees the wound. Another metaphor, you gaze into a mirror. The mirror sparkles, and you fall in love with the reflection. But the real you is not there. The body is that reflection. The soul is the truth behind the glass. When man worships the body, he becomes a slave to an image. Even modern psychology describes this slavery. though in a different language. Freud said the human subconscious is shaped by bodily drives. Most of human behavior, Ibn Arabi reminds us, is driven by unconscious impulses. Modern psychology calls them drives. Sufism calls them Nafs, the lower self that surrounds the soul and pulls it downward. If a human does not confront this force, they become its slave. Ibn Arabi teaches that the path is an inner revolution. The soul must reclaim its authority over the body. He describes this in 3 stages: to know, to see, to be. First, to know. A person must recognize their slavery. Second, to see. They must observe how this slavery manifests in the outer world. Third, to be. The soul returns to its source and declares its freedom. This is the inner journey of Sufism. Ibn Arabi writes, "Truth does not appear outwardly until it is first liberated inwardly." True freedom begins when the soul breaks the chains of the body. But when a person worships their body as a temple, they forget the soul within. This forgetfulness is the closing of the gate to truth. He likens bodily desires to provinces of an empire. Each desire, hunger, lust, anger, fear, acts like a governor seeking its own power. The soul is the sovereign over these provinces. But if the ruler grows weak, the provinces rebel. The inner world collapses into civil war. Farabi compared man to a city. The intellect is its ruler, the soul its foundation, the ego its lower class. If reason and soul work together, there is justice in the city. If the ego takes control, chaos reigns. And the only way to prevent chaos, Farabi says, is through wisdom. Wisdom disciplines desire, and discipline is the first step to freedom. Sühreverdi explains it with light. The body is a dark cave, the soul a light imprisoned within. Shadows dance on the cave walls, and man mistakes them for reality. Modern man spends his life chasing shadows. Sühreverdi warns, he who does not see the light is deceived by shadows. This deception is the slavery of the soul. Modern culture glorifies the body and sells us shadows as truth. Advertising, social media, fashion, all elevate the image of the body, while the soul is forgotten. This, says Ibn Ataullah al-Iskandari, is the greatest tragedy of our age. Man praises his body and forgets his soul. To forget the soul is to forget truth. To forget truth is to lose the purpose of existence. Modern philosophy speaks of freedom. Sartre claimed that man is condemned to be free, yet his freedom often remained trapped within the limits of the body. In Sufism, freedom is only real when the chains of the Nafs are broken. Without breaking the body's slavery, freedom is an illusion. Ibn Arabi teaches that awakening is the first step to truth. A soul that does not awaken will go on living chained to the body. And the greatest slavery, he says, is not knowing you are a slave. Modern civilization is built around the body. The health industry, the beauty industry, the fitness industry, all glorify the flesh. But this glorification hides a spiritual collapse. People invest in their bodies but neglect their souls, and this neglect begins the decay within. Nietzsche once declared, "God is dead." But Sufism says the real death is the death of the soul. When man forgets God, he makes a god of his body. This is modern man's hidden idolatry. The body becomes an idol. Ibn Arabi says, "The idol is not in stone, it is built in the heart." Love of the body is an idol in the heart, and this idol is the greatest barrier to the soul. Modern psychology explains this through body image. A person builds their identity around their relationship with the body. If the body is idealized, the self becomes fragile. One wound, one sickness, one wrinkle shakes the entire existence because the soul has been tied to the flesh. This identification is the subtlest form of slavery. Ibn Ataullah warns, "Do not let the body deceive you. The body is mortal. Whoever lives for it becomes a prisoner of mortality." True freedom begins when you set limits on the body. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "The true warrior is the one who fights against his own self." Bukhari, Rikak, 20. At first glance it seems simple, but look deeper. It reveals the very center of human existence. The enemies outside, the battles of the world, these are visible. But the greatest battle of man is within himself, because the greatest enemy is not outside, it is the slavery within. The desires of the body, the traps of the ego, the endless hunger for this world, these are the chains that enslave the soul. The Prophet Muhammad taught us in this hadith that true freedom begins within. A man may conquer lands, command armies, even rule nations. But if he has been defeated by his own ego, then every victory is nothing but a hidden defeat. Ibn Arabi, in his Futuhat al-Makkiyah, explains, "The greatest battle is the unseen battle. There is no sword, no army. That war is fought in the heart. And when the heart defeats its own darkness, truth is born there." The modern world teaches us that freedom is doing what you want with your body, displaying it, feeding it, adorning it. But Ibn Arabi warns, this is not freedom, it is another kind of slavery. For the needs of the body are endless. Each time one desire is satisfied, another rises. The soul that forgets its source becomes thirsty forever. Ibn Ataullah al-Iskandari writes in Al-Hikam, "Whoever serves his body serves his ego. Whoever serves his soul is freed in the presence of God." This sentence destroys the illusion of modern freedom. True freedom is not the absence of limits. It is the ability to set limits on the ego. Without this, freedom is only another form of bondage. Farabi compares man to a city. If the ruler, the soul, governs with justice, the city is in harmony. But if the ruler weakens and obeys the demands of the masses, the desires, the city collapses. The same collapse happens within us. Modern psychology calls this collapse addiction, not just to substances, but to emotions, habits, even thoughts. We become addicted to the dopamine bursts of the body, food, lust, scrolling, buying, consuming. But Sufism reminds us, these are the chains of the self. And so, true freedom is not outside, it is within. It is the soul remembering its source, breaking the idols of the body, and standing again in the presence of God. My dear friend, reflect on this. Are you truly free, or are you just decorating your chains? If this journey speaks to you, if these words awaken something within, then join us here at Ibn Arabi's Legacy. Subscribe, share, and walk with us on this path of remembrance. For every step closer to truth is a step closer to freedom.